welcome to Inspire right here on Dominion Television. My name is Melissa Awad, and joined with me here today is a very special guest, all the way from Kenya, Honorable Catherine Waruguru, who is the Chief Administrative Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Kenya. Honorable Catherine, you are welcome. In fact, in Ghana, we say Akwaba. Welcome.
Good to see you, Melissa, and I'm so delighted to be hosted by you today. I'm so happy to have come finally to Dominion TV in your headquarters. We get to receive you, most of us in Africa and across Africa, and I want to say thank you to you and say thank you to Papa Archbishop, for being God's voice and listening to this great vision of televising gospel and reaching to masses by use of media and social media. So this is not my first time in Ghana. I was here because Papa had a birthday, his 66th birthday, and through the courtesy of Lady Parker, I'm so grateful and honored to be a part of this great celebration, and also to have my inaugural experience to come in for your TV show. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We say jambo in Nairobi. We speak Swahili.
Jambo.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right? Jambo.
Yeah, jambo. Yeah, you say si jambo.
Fantastic. That might be my first word in Swahili that I've been taught. Thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Awesome, Melissa.
Thank you. Well, you look absolutely wonderful. And I know you are a very, very, very busy woman, career, family. We're going to get into that. But first of all, congratulations on being recently sworn in as the Chief Administrative Secretary. Politics, it is not an easy arena.
Sure.
Yeah. And the navigation, how's it going so far?
Yeah, that's true, Melissa. Yeah. Who I am, I'm 36 years old and an African girl born in the central part of Kenya. Got through the ordinary village life like any other child, and did my public primary school, secondary school, university, and everything like any other child. And from the day I've been brought up, I was raised an orphan girl because I lost my mother way early, and I was raised by my grandmother. But exceptionally, she did something amazing to me, the fact that she took me to the church. And though she didn't know Christ then, she desired to see me as a second generation and the firstborn of her daughter, growing up in the church. And that changed my life. So my desire to go through school and also my desire to know Christ and serve in the body of Christ, has catapulted me to who I am today. I was born and raised a leader, though I'm the firstborn of a politician in history of our generation. Me being in politics, I joined politics in the year 2013. You do your maths where that was. Politics found me, but I will be addressing that later as maybe I talk to Ghanaian youths and I talk to the rest of the world, and how young people can strategically be in a position to place themselves in places of leadership and influence without necessarily waiting for somebody, to hold your hand. So that's me. I'm a mother. I'm a mother of 3 children. Joshua is in Form 1, that is in the Kenyan education system. He's 13 years old. Emily is 7 years old. And the bubbly Victoria, she's 3 years old. And I'm an African woman, more to go. I'm married to a businessman called Peter Waweru. That's me. Away from that, I'm a politician and a leader one for that case. I'm a firebrand. Those who will be watching me from Kenya, they would agree. I go by the nickname Daughter of Zion because I know the secret is not in the chariots, the secret is not in the swiftness of my feet, but the power that is in me that pulls me through the storms, because politics, like you've lightly said it, is not for faint-hearted, especially for women and young women or youthful women. And so I served as a member of county assembly. I don't know if that's the equivalent of your local governments here, or a councillor. I don't know what's your system here. And I served in the top parliament in Kenya as the youngest woman representative, then at the age of 31. And I desired to go for an elective seat as a single member of constituency, which I did not succeed in the party primaries, but the president requested my heart to help him in the presidential election, and which we did. And now there comes the appointment, like you just mentioned, the president found it right and bestowed me the responsibility to help Kenya in marketing Kenya in the diaspora, and also dealing with matters foreign affairs. So that wouldn't go without me mentioning that we have an active embassy here, and I've been in full swing. And those who know us Kenyans, we are shrewd businessmen and would always go for any opportunity. And Ghana stands out as a strategic partner in the west of Africa between yourselves and Nigeria. And we do serious exports and imports, or what we call a bilateral trade. So that's it. I'm helping my country in doing what we can do best in trying to position Kenya strategically. Like when you talk about the East Africa, we are challenged because West Africa, you mentioned countries like DRC Congo. Talk about Burundi. We've been having instabilities and fights and killings and all this. And then we have got Somalia at our border. We have Ethiopia. Ethiopia had Tigray War, and Somalia for the longest period, Kenya has been able, to help them and come through in brokering a peace deal between what we call Khartoum, Sudan and Somalia. Somalia, I know you do remember the Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda extremism and terrorists that reign on in the better part of East Africa and Central Africa. And we coming through as strategic partners to see that we become the big brother.
Such a wealth of knowledge. And we're going to continue to get into your primary roles with your office and your appointment. But I want us to, because you talk about your background and you've been very open about it and you shared it, because we're really getting to know Honorable Cate. I love how you said you're an African woman and you just gave us some insight. You have mentioned in some interviews that you wanted to change the narrative about where you came from, and specifically because you didn't want your children to go to certain experiences. I think that's quite profound, especially being such a woman representative for your office. Has it shaped your path to get to where you are now?
Every person, the Lord equips you with uniqueness, and everybody has their unique grace. Papa Archbishop is the father of strategic prayer, and he's a revivalist. He is a man who stood against odds in the early days of Ghana and has fought for the spiritual and the liberation of a charismatic church in Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the world. I want to answer that question by telling you, Melissa, between me and you at your age, you need to ask ourselves very basic questions. What we stand for and what we fight for, because the freedom we enjoy today, both Ghana and Kenya, we were colonized by Britain. The freedom we enjoy today, Jomo Kenyatta, the Mau Mau, Kwame Nkrumah, and the rest of the patriots in Ghana, they donated their lives, their joy, their peace, and everything to pay a price for us. So between me and you and our generation, what we stand for, and that now explains to me why I would stand to change a number of narratives. We have government forms, Democratic Republic of Kenya. Ghana has attained high independence, and you have a government that is running and operative. I understand you're about to go for your general election in another 1 year. We are just from the concluded general election in the year 2022. And everything is moving on well. But look, it's not enough. We have more than enough to tackle and to deal with each day at a time. We cannot be able to do everything, but everybody, if you are to stand in for something that you will do and make a change, generations to come, they will own it up and feel very proud that there was a woman by the name Cate, there was a woman by the name Melissa. We fought for this, and this is what we achieved. And I want to state that in very fast what I stand for. One, I'm a human rights defender. Why? Because I've grown up in a setup that made me always look like I need to fight for my space. And being an African girl, the stereotyping, the gender stereotyping, the mediocrity in it will always make you as a woman feel like you're not enough. And you need a man to approve, or a man to remind you that you can do it without them. So I'm a human rights defender. I stand for the rights of the women and girls. I mean, Melissa, have a look at this. A woman who decides, or a young girl, maybe you're sexually harassed or molested or something, and you decided, I'm making up my mind, I'm going to carry this pregnancy for the next 9 months. Only one morning for you to realize that the baby you've been carrying, you need to spend the rest of your life taking care of them, feeding them, bathing them, and buying diapers and all this kind of courage. So what I'm trying to say is this: I stand for change, and I stand to speak for things that majority of our women, especially rural women, they're so ashamed to discuss, and they're things that they will keep on hiding and they don't want to talk about it. For example, women and family planning, women and the children, women and a number of probably diseases or ailments that are prone to women. For example, when you talk about cervical cancer, by the way, I'm a champion for cancer. I've been pushing my government, and I'm still going to go on with that movement. I'm asking my government to declare cancer as a national disaster so that the government takes up the bills and takes up the healthcare, the palliative care for all cancer patients. Because, I mean, cancer is worse than poverty. It's the greatest demon. I don't know about Ghana, but I'll tell you, if I'll give a holistic experience about Africa, is that cancer kills more than any other disease because it's non-communicable. But once you get it, it gets into your head, and you know that you start doing your chemotherapies and you need to be on a diet, you need to go for palliative care and all this, it drains you off. So I stand for those things that people are not comfortable to talk about. A woman is bleeding, she has cervical cancer. Who make her feel is just okay? Who will tell our girls that you can go for HPV vaccinations? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. When you talk about our girls and their menstruation cycle and the abuses that are in the village, if a woman who is polished and a woman who is exposed does not stand to just make them understand that it's okay. And what you go through, even the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, before she passed on, she would still experience the same cycle. It's okay. If you don't go through it, then you're abnormal. You need to go see your doctor if you're not pregnant. So, I mean, if somebody doesn't come through, you just make them understand is okay, I feel, then we'll be letting down our society. To sum it up, I mean, I stand for those small things that we as girls and women go through, and there's nobody to articulate it, to address it to the government, to bring it and highlight it to the media, because you fear being victimized, or you fear people looking at you like you're a weak vessel.
Honorable, we are going to dive a little bit deeper into this, because this seems to be quite an issue on the continent, with conversations that are still taboo and that are affecting our communities, especially with women. And thank you so much for highlighting this. But we're going to pause on this very quickly, and we will be right back. You are tuned in to Inspire right here on Dominion Television. Back to Inspire, and if you've just tuned in, I'm here with our very special guest, Honorable Catherine Waruguru, also probably known as Honorable Cate.
Yeah, Cate is my nickname.
Cate, very, very cute, but still holds weight, of course. Before we went on break, you touched on some issues that are global, but are quite prevalent in our African communities. We're still having conversations that seem to be very taboo, like menstruation and issues to do with women's medical issues and things of that nature. Something that I would like us to touch on, which is a global issue, but it seems on the continent of Africa, we're a little bit too relaxed about it, because you actually brought it up. Sexual harassment, sexual abuse, things that women are still scared to talk about. And it's happening very rampantly in our workspaces. There are a lot of young women that are scared to go to work every day, but they need to make a living. They need to put food on the table. Now, the platform that you have for your ladder of success, did you have any unfortunate experiences, or can you speak to our women to empower them?
Melissa. Yeah, thank you so much. You speaking to millions, the lives of African children and African girls and women. First of all, I want to admit that sexual harassment, gender stereotyping, and all manner of assault and biases that we meet as women did not start yesterday. you check in the Holy Book the story about Tamara and what happened to her, you realize from the ancient of days, women, we suffered a setback. And our good brothers, our fathers, and our uncles, to some extent, there are those who have not matured up to accept that you can pick up a conversation with a woman if she is of age without you looking like you want to force them into you or you want to force yourself into them. I'm saying this because most women fear to discuss these things in open because they feel like it's not the right thing to do, or primarily maybe they lack the courage to address it. And allow me, just give me a minute to talk to our African girls and women. And I want to share my lifetime experience because I've been in the public life for the longest. The way you package yourself as a woman, the way you think through about yourself, the way you present yourself to the world, they will address you that way. Regardless of whether you've been to school or not gone to school, you're from a poor background, or if you're from middle class or rich, any woman, from the depth of their heart, they know their strength and the heights they will reach one day. If I ask you today where you want to be, you still have dreams and aspirations. I know one day what I want to be back at home. So the thing is the deception and the fallacy that is sold and peddled around our villages, our towns, and even in government buildings and government offices, that there is always a shorter way to get it to the top, that there is always a shortcut to you getting the attention of a man. Adam was created, and I thank God for the sermon that was preached yesterday. When Adam was created, he was not complete until the day God made him a helper out of his rib. And therefore, it's just okay. And men will always feel as though they are not complete until there's a woman in your life. But the abuse is when you feel like I have an entitlement on this woman and maybe she is not created or made to be your helper. It's not every man, any woman you find in the streets, in the government buildings and in offices and where corruption thrives is your helper. There is that one person who God has ordained for you to be your helper. So I always ask myself as an African girl, who am I? A companion. So am I a companion to a boss who sexually harasses me so that I get something and a favor from him? What am I? And these are the vices that we must address to our community. And just to talk to our women and tell them, we can always get what we desire. We can always get the much desired results if we stand firm. I mean, I'm a firebrand, and the reason why I'm a firebrand is I got into politics where
Firebrand? What? Explain to those
okay,
that
fine.
don't
To a
understand.
Ghanaian, being a firebrand, I'm a no-nonsense woman.
Okay.
I know my place. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I understand my mandate. I understand my role. And I believe what a man can do, a woman can do better. And from where I sit, I may be live to inspire somebody who would listen to us and you, Melissa, today. That look, no man will ever make you complete. You are complete on your own. Any man who steps in your life will only make you better if he believes in your vision and in your dream. So not every person comes to you voluntarily or involuntarily who is your partner of your destiny. And that's why you tell you there are people who come around your life and you're doing very well, they stagnate you or they bring you down. Because not all of them has godly assignment or agenda to become your destiny helper. And I'm speaking from the marketplace, and maybe just mention the abuses that goes around governments in Africa. And you're in an office and your boss feels like if you're a woman, you must be their side chick, you must be what, for you to look like you get these favors and all that. And that is why I'll tell you, check on majority of Black American women. Go to Europe. Most of these countries, you'll find women are rising, and God has strategically positioned majority of us women in places of leadership because he intends to recover us at the pits of hopelessness that we have been reigning in the years of our days, especially here in Africa. So my point is, we got to believe in ourselves. You got to be good at what you do. The problem with most of us, you want to do everything. You want to be a fashionista, you want to be a socialite, you want to be a politician, you want to be a media person, you want to do what? It's a high time. Check. Most men specialize Most men, they will always get a tool of trade and they'll always run with an agenda until it's done in such a way no man can compete with you in the market.
So, Honorable, where does that come from?
That comes from because we mothers, God has blessed us. We are like octopus. We can do so many things at a time. Yeah, we are multifaceted. But look, the rules of engagement in our homes and a family setup and in the market setup are totally different. In the marketplace, you're who you are defined by your abilities, probably by your background, academically or what, but most of the time we lose it and we lose the point of concentration and we stop specializing and becoming the best we should be. Me as a wife and a woman, and a mother from the home setup, I'm gifted, I would do 1,000,001 things at a time. But when we get to the marketplace, men, women compete. If today you're invited for an interview by the Public Service Commission here in Ghana, you will not appear in your capacity as a woman, but it's you, Melissa. You, your papers, your knowledge, your everything. And look, we're competing in a marketplace that is male-dominated.
Do we need to?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You want to tell me you want to drop your mic? You got to do what you've been doing, and you got to be the best in your field. You got to fight for your space. Because me, I'll tell you, no space is available that's available for you to take up. Any space in the marketplace, you fight for it. You struggle for it. Even in the spiritual realm, why we keep on praying every single day, fasting and seeking divine intervention is because there's nothing is for free for you in this life. Anything you've not break a sweat for, and it comes along your way, it's cheap. It's going to run your way, gonna run out of your way in a cheap way. Nevertheless, I'm a born-again Christian. We talk about grace. We talk about favor. But look, grace will come your way. Favor will come your way. If you don't know how to manage it, you don't know how to contain it, you are not prepared, you've not gone through the process, it will come your way, you'll never realize, and it'll never work for you.
So your faith is your faith. You're a born-again Christian. You just declared it. Everybody knows.
Yeah,
is that where you get your inner
that's
strength from? Because we have Catherine. We have the woman, we have Honorable Catherine, we have the politician, we have the mother, we have the wife. But your inner strength, your secret place, where is it coming from?
Melissa, let me tell you, I love Papa for those words. He's taught us how to pray in our secret places. Yeah, in my secret place, I'm a prayerful woman. I pray. And when it's me and God, me and my faith, I don't joke. I don't care who is next to me. What do you think? I'll close my office, retreat to the mountains, go fast and do what I need to do. Because this world is not controlled, is not ran by what you see during the day, but what happens during the night. Men of influence, leaders, powerful preachers, they transact and trade at night. When everybody is sleeping, the witches are moving around Accra. When everybody is sleeping, Papa Bishop is praying. When everybody is sleeping, there is a student somewhere who is preparing to defend their thesis. When everybody is sleeping, so I just want you to just understand the dynamics of being able to be a balanced woman and achieve you doing anything and everything you desire to do without excesses or extremes of 1, 2, 3.
Can women really
so
have
I drew my inner strength from prayers.
Okay.
I drew my inner strength from having, fathers who pray for me, like Papa Bishop, and many of them in Nairobi who pray for me and believe in me. And number 2 is appreciating the rules of the game.
The rules of the game.
The rules of the game. You need to understand how the kingdom of God operates. You need to understand that praying and fasting is not enough. But you can be praying and you are just throwing words into the air without praying and understanding. So even prayers, Christianity, walking with God, it requires you to understand the rules and the terms of engagement. Marketplace, if I talk about business and politics, you need to understand the rules of the game. You need to understand how things are done. You need to understand the tactics. You need to understand the timing. You need to understand the strategic people you meet at every level of your life. Even in family, you got to be intentional. You need to know how to manage yourself. You need to know how to deal with your pressure. You deal with your anger, you deal with your frustration and all these kind of things. Otherwise, you'll be lost in the whole of package. And I think that's what we need to engage and push this until we come to a place whereby we achieve a well-balanced woman and a woman who is able to do everything you desire to do, but not you becoming too much of a religious person and you're in the mountains. Back at home, there are people who are lured by some pastors to fast, and they're fasting for 30 days, 40 days, and people died. And then the government is here, they're doing an inquiry, they want to understand what are the biblical principles being used that would lure Christians to fast until you die. Jesus Christ was in the mountain for 40 days. And at some point, the Bible says, devil the deceiver appeared and addressed his need at that time. His need was he was fasting and he was hungry, and was telling him, son of man, can you talk to these stones and turn it into bread? The devil was addressing Jesus' need, the fact that he was fasting and he was hungry. I'm talking about the deception, because most people would fear to give their lives to Christ because of misrepresentation of facts, misrepresentations of terms of engagement out there, especially in government and in the marketplace. Christianity isn't stupidity. Christianity doesn't mean you hang your brain, doesn't mean you stop working. We work, we serve, and we do what we need to do under the principles of who we are: an endowed woman, all-round woman, and a balanced woman. I don't know whether I got that right.
No, a balance, I love it, because we are talking about the women in leadership, challenges and successes. Now, Honorable, before you go, speak to our young women. I mean, you've said a lot, but speak to our young women. Our young women, maybe your 21-year-old self, maybe the girl from your community, or even from the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, who has been through what you've been through, and she doesn't want to go down a path that could be detrimental.
Yeah, Melissa, that's so true. We need to be solution givers. Courage is not enough. Because what we lack, one, is information. Women lack access to information. They don't know how to deal with the oppression they go through every day. Number two, they lack information to get to know where they can get help. Number three, they lack the courage. And every Sunday in their prayer groups, in their cell groups where they go meet and pray, they are told, be bold, be courageous. Get the courage of David, go for it. But at times, they are not equipped on how to engage. And that is where now me and you, Melissa, and Dominion TV, we should get down to unpacking this thing and making our people just to understand, how do you engage? And I hope you host me another day. We can get to that topic in details to get to know, how do you engage in the marketplace? How do you engage, in government? How do you engage in the world of business? Because it has its rules and has its terms of engagement. Number three is just to remind our women, no single woman, no successful woman leader, from Sir Ellen Johnson, the former president of Liberia, to Kamala Harris, talk to Biden's wife, talk to whoever, I'm telling you, no single girl who have not messed up in their life. Melissa, look at me. You have your skeletons. You have your black spots. You have things you're dealing with. You have things that make you cry. Me too, Cate, I cry. I get my moment to get my handkerchiefs and just cry before God. I look stupid before the mirror, but you got to do it. Come on, Melissa. It's a high time our women just accept. It's just okay what you went through. You made mistakes. Carry your lessons. Don't carry the shame.
And there's grace.
There's grace.
God, yeah.
Come on, yeah. There's grace. Because most women, you live a life of the past. Somebody raped you. Somebody molested you. Somebody lured you. You got a child with them. They abandoned you along the way. Somebody lied to you. Somebody misused you. Your mother, your father wasn't there for you. Maybe you didn't get the best daddy in the world you have desired. Come on, it's a high time, an African woman, you admit and accept the fact that your mother did not abort you. The fact that they took you to school. You're well enough if you have an ID card to just stand for your place and fight for what is yours. And fight for you, fight for yourself. Because if you give up on the battle, the daughters and the sons you raise, they'll still deal with that demon you could not deal with. So my point is, it's a high time we accept. And my advice to young girls will be, please, if you mess up, accept and make peace, number one, with yourself. Because even if you approach the throne of God in pain, in bitterness, and hating yourself, hitting yourself too hard, you may go and ask for what is not important to you and always helpful. That's why I'm telling you, even in prayers, we must be strategic. And that's why we call Papa Bishop Duncan the father of strategic prayers. We must also be strategic in the way we deal with ourselves when shit happens and when messes come in your life. One is to make peace with yourself. And making peace with yourself is to accept. If God gave me another chance to wake up another day, he's not yet done with me. I can pick up my shells, rise again, and correct that vice. And number 2 is us engaging in accountability partners. Because most of us, your best friend is your daddy or your mommy. If not your daddy and your mommy is your sister. There are some things our family members will never tell us, especially in terms of your personalities, your fears, and your weakness, because maybe they lack the relevant background in regards to the questions you want to ask them. And when I say about accountability partner, you'd have a mentor, you'd have somebody who prays over you, who thinks over you, who've walked a journey with you. But it's always good, married or unmarried, get somebody who you account yourself to, because most of the time we lie to ourselves and we cover up a number and multitude of things within our hearts, and you're not able to deal with them. What do I mean? We have the attitude of postponing doing things. That's procrastination. We have the attitude of just comforting ourselves. Okay, it's okay. Okay, fine, I'll be okay. Tomorrow, you sleep, another day comes in, and you never do what you need to do. When I talk about accountability, I mean us in our journey up the ladder. You need somebody who reminds you stagnated too long. You've been on this level too long. You've worked for this company too long. There's an opportunity. There's somebody who I would connect you to. Come on. And when I say this, I'm talking of people who highly mention your name in a room where you are not available, but they will credit you and recommend you, refer you, and make reference of your strength and your ability to perform a task. And then number 4 is us being desirous just to get to do what we must do. An African woman is not only a life giver, we are breadwinners, some of us. I speak this with passion because I know a number of our African girls, they're single mothers. Most teenage pregnancies, others your trial and error in marriage, and then you end up realizing, I was not in love, this was lust, or this was what. We got a child and here we are. Most girls, they lose it they lose how their minds at that point. You refuse to return to school, or your mother or your father are not ready to take you back to school, and you lose it. Come on, it's a high time we just admit you did it. It happened to you. It occurred to you, but make peace with yourself. Package yourself for the right attitude, and that is the winning attitude. Where tomorrow you wake up, somebody tells you, you kid now. Look at you, look at your life. And you tell them, come on, I love myself. And that's in my history. I've carried my lessons. Please leave the skeletons alone. They remain, let them remain in the graves. Come on, I'm not in the grave. I'm not that woman you knew. God has worked in me, has worked on me, has processed me, and this is who I am, and this is where I'm headed to. And that's the winning attitude. And that's the attitude I desire and pray that any person who is listening to this show today, they will desire that God gives them the right attitude, the winning attitude, the attitude that not only reminds you about evil and past things bad past things that has happened to your life, that an attitude that reminds you, like David did, that look, I was taking care of my father's flock and a lion came and wanted to attack the flock, and I teared it down using my hands. We need the attitude, because in God's grace, favor, and mercy, the Holy Ghost ministers to us and will always remind us of battles that you have overcome in life.
That's right.
Yeah.
Honorable, the winning attitude, accountability, overcoming our battles, courage, wisdom.
Yeah,
You've said so
sure.
much, and unfortunately our time is spent. There's too much to unpack, but these are some of the things that our audience can take away as nuggets, as priceless pieces of gold. And for those who want to contact you, those who want to get to know more.
Let's do one more minute on the youths, because I'm still in the bracket of young men and women. And I know somebody watching us today would be like, Cate, how have you reached where you are? Raised an orphan child. I'm the firstborn in politics and leadership in the family, and beating all these odds to be where I am. Number 1, get to know who you are. I've said and learn and understand the rules and the terms of the engagement. Get to know the rules of the game. Because once you know where you want to be, you'll invest your energy and your life dedicated to that. Number three, package yourself. Prepare yourself. In a young man listening to us, don't wait for your preacher to package you on Sunday. Don't wait for them to speak to you grace and faith, and on Monday to Saturday, you're wasting your time and doing nothing. Be a doer and practice. Practice this. Unfortunately, we do not exercise our faith and practice our faith on the church pulpit or on this church, your favorite church sitting position. We do this in the marketplace. So if you're not a king and you're not reigning over your life, using the declarations that Papa Archbishop speaks to us every single Sunday from the platform, you'll be a consumer of the words and the declaration, but then that word does not fall on a fertile ground. So then you come back again on Sunday when you're hungry. I want to say this, that we have been prepared, fashioned properly for the marketplace. But most of the time, when Monday comes, you forget that faith is a tool of engagement. Grace, favor, and mercy is a tool of engagement. You abandon it and then you battle it out in the market field with your flesh.
Battle it out in the market field with your flesh.
With your flesh. As you engage with your lady contractor. Me, I'm a contractor. I don't stop being a woman of faith because I have a grader and a tarmac road we're working on. I don't know whether you got me. Because people become carnal and they only remember God when there is a problem. As long as things are moving on and working all well, they will not remember Abba Father. They will remember Abba Father Yahweh when problems come. I pray that the Lord shall develop us and develop our young men to know it's okay for us to serve Christ. It's okay for us to reach out and seek wisdom. But it's importantly, very important of us to practice, to exercise the word in the marketplace. Because look, the kingdom is in deficit of kingdom financiers. We have many volunteers and people who want to serve. And when you look at the world and you look at our critics, they will always package this conversation and say, if you're looking for people who are idle, you find them in church, and they will always say, okay, we are available, give us any task, we are ready to work. There are no idlers in the house of God. We are prepared, fashioned like a Trojan horse for the marketplace. And therefore we must reign as kings from Monday to Saturday. And on Sunday we come back to the house of God as a priest. Now finally to a young man. Please don't sit and wait for things to just come around you. Don't wait for any prophecy to locate you that tomorrow you're going to get your visa and go to the US or go to the UK or come to Kenya. You don't even need any visa to come to Kenya. But my point is, blessings will find you on your way. You got to find yourself doing something. It's old fashioned for you sit back and wait for your mommy to find you a job. It's old fashioned to wait for your uncle to find you a job. Stop blaming people and your relatives that they can't help you. Elisha did not walk with Elijah because he was assured he was to be a prophet. In fact, it was only a promise towards the very last days and last moments. And the sons of prophets kept on telling Elisha, your master is about to be raptured. You'll be left alone and you look like a fool. What am I saying? That we need the spirit of Elisha in our young men. They need to have a desire to offer services, render services, with or without pay, even when it looks foolish and stupid for them to do that. And in the fullness of time, God will always make sure that they will not be left with nothing. Let me tell you, Elisha performed greater miracles than Elijah. In fact, go check the number of miracles Elisha did. Guess why? Because he had the double portion anointing. He had the anointing of his father Elijah, and he had the anointing of him, the man who walked with his daddy. Remember that piece of cloth? He tore it 2 times on River Jordan and he performed. Let me tell you, any young man who is listening to us, I'm so passionate about how we feel, so passionate about how the marketplace is fashioned for us. But I will tell you this, keep on. Hang on the clothes of one great man or great woman. And one day is a matter of time. One day you'll be greater than them. One day your legacy will be even richer than them, whether they'll be alive or they'll be long gone to the Lord. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. And I'm sorry that our time is spent, but you have poured, and we thank you. And we just pray that God replenishes your tank and fills it up. And Honorable, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for gracing us here in Ghana. Wishing you all the best with your endeavors and your office and your appointment. And how can people reach your office?
All right. First, we have our Kenyan embassy right here. Any Ghanaian who desires to come to the coastal beaches of Mombasa, who wants to come to Masai Mara, Nairobi is only 5 hours flight. You don't need a visa. I mean, in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, we are all brothers. And so I first want to market my country and ask you to consider coming to Kenya as a perfect holiday destination, to come and benchmark with the rest of us. We are doing very well in the industry. I mean, we are too much into manufacturing, too much into agriculture, and too much into ICT and IT, basically because most of Kenyan youths do not have land as a capital of production. Some even lack capital. And so we have explored into the world of ICT to see that in a young man, as long as you have your laptop or you have your iPad or you have your good phone, you can be able to use your phone and you can be able to employ yourself and take care of your life. You can catch me on Facebook, Honorable Cate Waruguru, Kate_Waruguru on Twitter. And I mean, that's it. I mean, that's all. I will have memorized the rest of my hashtag and Instagram and what. I'm not too active, but I'm there.
No problem.
Thank you.
Once we look you up on Google, we know you're there. Honorable, thank you so much.
All right, Melissa.
Thank you.
You're a great host, and much love to Ghanaians. Thank you for sparing me with and spoiling me with plenty of fufu and matoke plantain. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Melissa Awad. This has been Inspired right here on Dominion TV.